I want you to picture something. You're 67 years old. Your back hurts. Your knees hurt. Honestly, things hurt that you didn't even know were things. You've been working for 45 years. You are done. You are ready to retire, sit on a porch somewhere, drink something cold, and watch other people stress out about meetings. Beautiful image, right? Now picture your bank account. It has $87,000 in it. You Google, "Can I retire on $87,000?" And the first result is an article that simply says, no. That is the retirement reality for a stunning number of Americans. And the scariest part, most of them didn't see it coming. They assumed, the way most of us assume, that retirement was just something that happened to you eventually, like wrinkles or a strong opinion about the thermostat. It doesn't just happen. And today, we're going to talk about exactly why, and what you can do so that you're not the person Googling that question at 67. Fair warning, some of these stats are going to sting a little. But I'd rather give you a mild sting today than a major crisis later. Let's go. First, let's talk about where this idea of retirement even comes from, because it's newer than you think. The concept of retirement, as in, stop working at a certain age and live off savings, is roughly 100 years old. Before that, most people worked until they physically could not, and then they either relied on family or they died. Modern retirement in America was basically invented by two things: Social Security in 1935 and corporate pensions in the mid-20th century. Here's how those were supposed to work. Social Security. You pay in your whole career, the government sends you a monthly check when you hit retirement age. Pensions, you work for a company for 30 years, and they pay you a fixed monthly income for the rest of your life after you retire. And for a while, this actually worked. If you were a factory worker or a government employee or spent your career at one company, retirement was genuinely pretty automatic. You showed up, you did your job, and at the end the check came. Here is the problem: that system has almost completely collapsed and nobody made a formal announcement. Pensions. Largely gone in the private sector. In 1980, about 60% of private sector workers had a traditional pension. Today, it's fewer than 5%. From 60% to 5% in one generation. Most employers replaced pensions with 401k plans, which we'll get into in a minute, which shifted all the responsibility of saving and investing from the company to you. Social Security still exists, but the average monthly Social Security check is about $1,900 a month as of 2024. That's $22,800 a year. The federal poverty line for a single person is about $15,060 a year. So Social Security alone keeps you technically above the poverty line, but we're talking about a margin of roughly $600 a month. You cannot comfortably retire on Social Security alone. Not in 2024, where the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in the US is over $1,500 a month. You'd be spending 80% of your Social Security check just on housing, before groceries, medications, utilities, or anything else. So both of the original retirement pillars have either crumbled or shrunk dramatically. And the replacement system, saving it yourself in a 401k or IRA, requires something the old systems didn't. You actually have to do it proactively for decades without ever touching it. Which brings us to the numbers of how we're actually doing. Let's look at the actual retirement savings data for Americans, because this is where things get real. According to a 2024 Federal Reserve survey, nearly 30% of Americans have zero retirement savings. None. We are not talking about not enough. Or a little behind. We mean zero. A third of the country is running a retirement savings account with no money in it, or no account at all. And it gets more specific. Among Americans aged 55 to 64, people who are within 10 years of traditional retirement age, the median retirement savings is about $185,000. Now $185,000 sounds like a lot. But here's the math. If you retire at 65, statistics say you'll live on average until about 85. That's 20 years of retirement. $185,000 divided by 20 years is $9,250 per year. That's $771 a month. Add your Social Security average of $1,900, and you're at $2,671 a month, or roughly $32,000 a year, to live on for 2 decades, during which healthcare costs, by the way, tend to increase significantly. That is not retirement. That is financial anxiety with a slightly more flexible schedule. Here's another one. A 2023 survey found that 20% of Americans over the age of 65 are still working. 1 in 5. And for many of them, it's not because they love working. It's because they have to. The term for this is unretirement. People who plan to retire and couldn't afford to, or people who briefly retired and had to go back because the math didn't work. And Gen Z and millennials, they're not exactly crushing it either. The median retirement savings for adults under 35 is about $20,000, which sounds low, because it is low. But the bigger issue is that roughly 45% of millennials and Gen Z have no retirement savings at all. And that's largely because wages have stagnated, rent has skyrocketed, student loans are eating hundreds of dollars a month. And when you're choosing between groceries and a Roth IRA contribution, you pick groceries. Every time. This is not a generation that is failing to try. This is a generation dealing with a math problem that previous generations didn't face. So this is what we've established. Pensions are mostly gone, Social Security alone isn't enough, and actual savings numbers are scary. So what happened? What replaced pensions? In 1978, almost accidentally, based on a tax code provision that a benefits consultant named Ted Benna decided to exploit, the 401k was born. Yes, it's named after a section of the tax code. Section 401, subsection K. Possibly the least exciting name for something that controls whether or not you can retire. They should have called it something like the Future Freedom Fund, but no. 401k it is. Here's how a 401k works in plain English. You tell your employer, take some money out of my paycheck before I touch it and put it in this special account. That money goes in before taxes, meaning if you earn $50,000 a year and put in $5,000, you only get taxed on $45,000. It's one of the few legal ways to reduce your tax bill while also saving for the future, which is actually a great deal. That money then gets invested, usually in something called a mutual fund or index fund, which we'll explain in a second, and it grows over time. You can't touch it without a penalty until you're 59 and a half. And when you finally do take it out in retirement, you pay taxes then. Many employers will also match your contributions up to a percentage of your salary. The most common match is 50% of your first 6%. In English, if you contribute 6% of your salary, your employer throws in another 3% for free. Free money. Actual free money. And yet roughly 1 in 3 workers who have access to a 401k match don't contribute enough to get the full match. They are literally walking away from free money their employer is trying to hand them. It's like your boss offering you a bonus and you saying, "No thanks, I'm good." Now here's the other problem with the 401k system. With pensions, the company managed all the investing. The professional handled it. You didn't have to know anything. With a 401k, you are now in charge. You have to choose your investments. You have to decide how much to contribute. You have to not touch it when the market drops 30% and everything in you screams, "Take the money and run." We basically handed everyone a race car and said figure it out, without giving them driving lessons. And most people, through no fault of their own, don't know what they're doing, so they either don't contribute enough, choose bad investment options with high fees, or panic sell during market downturns and lock in their losses. All 3 of those mistakes significantly damage long-term retirement outcomes. Even if you are saving, there are 2 invisible forces quietly eating your retirement from the inside. Most people have no idea they exist. Killer number 1, inflation. Inflation is the reason a movie ticket that cost $5 in 1990 now costs $15. It's the gradual rising of prices over time. The average inflation rate in the US over the past century is about 3% per year, although it feels more like 10% in the past couple years. Seeing that my local takeout place, went from $12 a place of noodles to now $17 in 5 years. Why does this matter for retirement? Because if you save $1 million today and stick it in a savings account paying 1% interest, by the time you retire in 25 years, that $1 million will have the purchasing power of about $476,000 in today's dollars. Inflation ate nearly half of it, not by stealing it, just by making everything else more expensive around it. This is why keeping all your retirement savings in a plain savings account is actually a losing strategy long-term. Your money needs to grow faster than inflation, which is why investing in the stock market, which has historically returned an average of about 7% per year after inflation over long periods, is so much more effective than a savings account. Killer number 2, fees. This one makes me want to flip a table, because it is completely legal and almost nobody talks about it. When you invest through a 401k or mutual fund, you almost always pay fees called an expense ratio that are taken out as a percentage of your investment every year, automatically, invisibly. A good expense ratio is around 0.05% to 0.10% per year. That's the kind you find in basic index funds. A bad one is 1% to 1.5% or higher. That's common in actively managed funds that many people are automatically enrolled in. What's the difference between 0.1% and 1%? That's tiny, you might be thinking, oh no. No. Over a 30-year period, a 1% annual fee on a $100,000 investment growing at 7% a year costs you approximately $125,000 in lost wealth compared to a 0.1% fee fund. 1%. $125,000. Gone. Not stolen. Just quietly siphoned away in fees, compounding in reverse every single year for 3 decades. That is a car. That's a college education. That's a down payment on a house. That's years of retirement income paid to a fund manager who, statistically speaking, is probably not even beating the basic index fund you could have bought instead. Check your 401k fund fees. Right now, today, after this. Look for the expense ratio. If it's above 0.5%, you need to look at whether there are lower-cost index fund options in your plan. Enough of the scary stuff. Let's talk about what actually works. Step 1. Get in the game any amount starting now. The single biggest retirement mistake is not starting. Every year you wait is exponentially more expensive to make up later. A 25-year-old who invests $200 a month at 7% average returns will have about $525,000 by age 65. A 35-year-old doing the exact same thing will have about $243,000, less than half, because they lost 10 years of compounding. Waiting costs more than investing poorly. Starting with $50 a month beats starting with $500 a month in 10 years. Step 2. If your employer offers a 401k match, contribute at least enough to get it. This is non-negotiable. Not contributing enough to capture the full employer match is the financial equivalent of turning down a raise. If your employer matches 3% of your salary, contribute at least 3%. That's an instant, guaranteed 100% return on that portion. Nothing in the investment world guarantees that. Take the match. Step 3. Use a Roth IRA if you qualify. A Roth IRA is a retirement account that works differently from a 401k. You put money in after taxes, but then it grows completely tax-free, and you pay 0 taxes when you take it out in retirement. For someone who is young and currently in a lower tax bracket, a Roth IRA is often a better deal than a traditional 401k, because you're paying taxes now at a lower rate and getting tax-free income later. You can contribute up to $7,000 a year in 2024, and you can open one yourself at places like Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab in about 20 minutes online. Step 4. Invest in low-cost index funds. An index fund is simply a fund that tracks a broad market index, like the S&P 500, which is the 500 largest companies in America, without an active manager trying to beat the market. They are boring. They are unglamorous. They don't have a cool name. And they consistently outperform the majority of actively managed funds over long periods, while charging a fraction of the fees. You don't need to pick stocks. You don't need to follow markets. You just put your money in a low-cost index fund and let it grow. Step 5. Increase your contributions by 1% every year you get a raise. This is the sneaky good strategy. Every time you get a raise at work, increase your retirement contribution by 1%. You won't feel it because you never had that extra money in your budget to begin with. But over 10 years, this dramatically accelerates your savings without ever feeling like a sacrifice. Step 6. Have a number. Most people have never calculated what they actually need to retire. They are just hoping it works out. Here's a quick rule of thumb. Multiply your expected annual retirement expenses by 25. That's the ballpark of what you need saved. If you want to spend $50,000 a year in retirement, you need about $1.25 million. That's the target. Now you have a GPS destination instead of just driving and hoping. Here's the honest summary. Most people will not retire comfortably, not because they're lazy, not because they made terrible decisions, but because the system shifted dramatically in one generation. The responsibility moved from institutions to individuals, and nobody gave those individuals the playbook. Pensions became 401k. Retirement became your problems. And the tools they gave you came with zero instructions, invisible fees, and the expectation that you'd somehow figure it out while also managing a career, a family, student loans, inflation, and a housing market that looks like a fever dream. But here's what's also true: the math is not hopeless. Compound growth is patient. Index funds are accessible. A Roth IRA takes 20 minutes to open. Starting with $100 a month is not embarrassing. It's $1,200 a year growing at 7%, and it beats starting with nothing in 5 years by a country mile. The people who retire comfortably are not always the people who earn the most. They're the people who started the earliest, stayed consistent, didn't pay unnecessary fees, and didn't panic when the market got choppy. You don't have to be rich to retire. You have to start. So if you walk away from this with one action, not a resolution, not a vibe, one actual action, let it be this. Find out what retirement accounts you have access to, find out if your employer matches, open a Roth IRA if you don't have one, and put something in it. Anything. Your 67-year-old self, the one with the sore knees and the beverage on the porch, is counting on the decision you make this week. Hope you gain some insights. Hit like and subscribe. See you in the next video.